I want to bring a dear friend of mine who's amazing, who is one of those outlier, crazy CEOs, and would love to make things happen out of nothing and build one of the most amazing companies, partnering with the founders of the company at Mirantis. With no further ado, obviously, Adrian. Adrian, do you want to come up to the front with me for 1 second? Great to see you, my friend. You've been awesome. So let's have a quick, maybe a seat next to each other. So, true story. I was at a customer site, and I told this to Adrian. I'm going to repeat it here, if you don't mind.
Oh, you're going to make me blush.
No. See, true story. I went to a customer site overseas. Name doesn't matter. Sitting down, there are a bunch of people in the room, and the C-level executive says, Adrian is the best CEO I ever worked with, and I ever engaged with. Before he said Adrian's name, he said the CEO. Like, I had that moment. Maybe he's talking about me. Then all the audience, I'm like looking. You know those movies. The Oscars come in and people are waiting. I'm going to be selected, and then they lose, and then they have this face. And I'm like, what would you say, Adrian? So I had to call Adrian, dude. I have to tell you this story. And there were all these people in the room. And I have to agree with this guy. I'll tell you, Adrian, you've done such an amazing job at Mirantis. You're the father, mother, uncle, aunt of OpenStack in a sense. Thank you for all your hard work, but more importantly, for your partnership. This space is obviously crazy with so many movers and shakers. You kept that real and grew the company from an open source project to what it is now, with almost 1,000 employees now?
780.
700. It was a small company, and you know what? Let me shut up. Tell the story. Who are you, and the journey at Mirantis? Very quick. We would love to hear from you a little bit more.
Well, I'm just a guy, and the beautiful part of the story of Mirantis is that we really built on a very strong foundation. We have amazing engineers. We have some of the brightest young talent on the planet when it comes to distributed systems, and we like to help customers succeed. And I think that's very, very simple. We got a few lucky breaks, I think, early on by winning some amazing customers and then getting some great investors on board with us. And we came up with a strategy that I believe was smart and sound. And we built a good culture that people want to come and work for us. And that's what the entire company is built around. And today we have about 200 customers. We raised about $200 million worth of capital, I think, from some great people. We have in every market segment that we go after some terrific names, so we're lucky. So you were the lead with your team, and with your team, obviously the team you built, the OpenStack strategy, because before you, Mirantis was not necessarily an OpenStack fully, right? It was your team and the... That's right.
The journey is interesting.
Yeah.
Can you tell us
the journey is a little bit interesting because when I joined the company, we were 3 people in the US and 100 people in Russia and Ukraine. Very smart people, but it wasn't so clear as to what is the common thread. You know, where is the opportunity to build a really big scalable business? We realized we had very smart engineers and they understood distributed systems, but they really were working on very different projects. And then we realized that the common thread on what we did is that we actually used open source technology and we built on-demand scalable systems, which is when we then decided to move to OpenStack and build cloud systems. And to me, what's happening in the world today that connects to our mission is that the enterprise world is copying a page from how the internet consumer companies operate. That's what's happening in technology in the enterprise world.
And right? What's next? Next phase for the industry, in your opinion, for OpenStack, and also within that, Mirantis is a leader. What happens next in your view? Thank God you're not a public company yet, so I can ask this question. Because every public company CEO came up here, I have forward-looking statements, I cannot say that, I cannot... So if you can tell us a little bit more in detail for the folks in the audience, would be fantastic. The vision, and for both OpenStack segment as an industry, as a segment, also you, as Mirantis.
Yeah. So our take is that the entire world in the enterprise space is going to accelerate dramatically. What's happening is that software is driving innovation in the world in every single business segment, and that speed of development and speed of innovation is essential. And that's going to drive a massive change in how enterprises are looking at software development, and as a result are looking at the infrastructure that powers software development. So the entire world, in our view, will move to a cloud on-demand infrastructure. And the big question is, are we going to have just a few large proprietary players like Amazon or Azure, or is there going to be an open standard for building the software-defined data centers? And our take is that OpenStack is very, very rapidly becoming the Android of the cloud data center. And we're seeing now huge companies, whether it's an AT&T or an Merck or an Apple, really doing extremely interesting large-scale internal OpenStack deployments, which will rival the functionality and capabilities of AWS. So this is what's going to happen. To us, it's all about scale.
Very super. I will tell one anecdote before we start the panel here. Xiaofeng is emailing you right now. I don't know what she's doing. She's constantly on your phone. I swear, you're like Pepper, constantly like distracted with other things. So Xiaofeng is one of our investors, one of your investors. She's our boss. We report to Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng takes us to Shanghai for a big customer site, myself and Adrian and a couple other people. And Xiaofeng likes openness. Open CEO executive summit, so to speak, with this customer. Adrian spoke. Obviously, after Adrian spoke, he sucked all the air out of the room. I go in, I'm like dead. So at the end of the, you know, in China, people are very direct. At the end of the day, Adrian doesn't know this. I'm going to say this first time. The guy goes, you know what? Adrian's presentation was great. Yours was a little bit boring, but don't worry about it. It's not boring because of you. Storage is boring, but Adrian's was great. Then Xiaofeng goes, yeah, Adrian has been there now 10 times since you guys left. You've been amazing, Adrian. You're a great friend. I'm not just saying this in a cliche way. You're a force of nature, and fantastic job, the team you built with Alex and Boris and rest of the team. They're all here yesterday in the reception. I know Boris at the wedding, he couldn't make it here to support you, but thank you for being part of this. So on that note, let's bring the part of the panel and still get going. So panel, you know your stuff, right? Come on up. We're gonna go speed date style very fast.